How's it going, guys? Double wide 6. And today I have a zero-turn tractor, and the problem is that when I turn off the PTO or the blades, they continue to spin. So we're going to take a look at this and see if we can fix it rather than replacing the PTO. So here's the tractor. It's a little MTD Cub Cadet RZT 42, so 42-inch deck. Had a blown engine. The Kohler Courage here has a cracked block in about 4 or 5 places. It was leaking oil here, and it was also leaking through the bottom. And the PTO was seized on there. I had to cut it off just to get the thing off. So we're going to take a look at that and see if we can't get it straightened out. And you'll notice I went from a Kohler to a Briggs twin on this thing, and the swap was real easy. In fact, the plug went right in. However, I had to make new muffler pipes connecting and welding. You can see right there, but it sounds great, and it's working well except for the PTO. So that's what we're going after today. So I've jacked it up a little bit here. You can see I've made it easy to work on, and now I'll bring in, we'll remove the PTO. So I unplugged the PTO, and now we'll just pull out the bolt holding it on. And there's a belt that we got to rotate off here. So by spinning that PTO, we should be able to get that belt off. That baby's pretty tight. There we go. Alright. So I got the PTO here, and when I disengage it, it is disengaging, but for some reason the belt is just catching a little bit. It's just kind of spinning the blade sort of slowly. So there needs to be separation between this side of the PTO and that side of the PTO. I've already set the gap, and to do that you get like a 20,000th feeler gauge, and you could stick it in here. And you want to set the gap by loosening up these 3 nuts. And you make sure it's set at 20 thousandths. So if I spin this, you don't hear any noise. It's spinning well. But when this is spinning on this side, like this side is spinning as well. So there's a little bit of tension in here. So we've got to figure out what's going on. And I've never tried to solve this problem before with a PTO, but I'm going to just take this apart and clean it up and see if I can figure out what's going on. Gonna need a little hammer or something. So we'll see if we can pop this apart. Alright. Well, it came apart, so let me just inspect this a little bit and see what we're trying to do here. So I'm just gonna start by cleaning up the surfaces a little. So a little bit of brake clean. And you could do that with like probably like 220 grit sandpaper would be good. I just have like I think that's like a, trying to think what they call that, Scotch Guard pad. Alright, so that's smooth, that removes some rust. This is spinning pretty good. What I want to do is I'm going to open up this bearing cover and I'm going to grease that since I'm in here. So I'm just going to take a pick and try and carefully remove the seal on this bearing. So if you look closely at the ball bearings, they spin pretty well, but there's like, let me show you this spinning. It spins pretty good, but you can see there's like some rust in there, so we'll clean that up a little bit and see if that doesn't help. So I'm just going to take a little bit of brake clean and just flush this out a hair. I'm going to let that sit a little bit, about a minute. Okay, it's been about a minute, so I'm just going to agitate it a little bit with my wife's toothbrush. And then we'll just kind of blow the crud out of there. Alright, we're ready to repack it. So, a little bit of ATF. This is actually used. I like to keep that because I mix it with acetone, sometimes put in my spray bottles. So we'll put that in there and we'll spin that around a little just to get everything lubricated. And then we're going to grease it. So we'll just put some grease in here. Clean this off. And then we'll snap that back in. Should feel it pop down. That's locked in nice. So I just clamped that in the vise. I'm going to kind of work in this oil and grease a little bit and see if I can't get this spinning better. So I'm just using a drill with a brush. So this is the second side of the PTO. We'll get this bearing. If we could sneak it out of here. This one looks better. A little bit of dirt just fell in there, so I should have wiped that off first. But you can see that this bearing, it wasn't rusted at all, so I think the other one was a problem. But since we're in here, we're going to clean it up and do the same process. So I'll quick go through and do that. So we want to make sure that the bearing is free and spinning, which this is. It was a little bit stuck. That feels good. So I'm going to use a step bit just because it's tapered. We'll try and spin this up. So I got everything looking good and cleaned up, so we're going to put this back together. Alright, so usually these are about even with the top of the studs, usually about a 1/16 of an inch down. So that's kind of where I'm going to start, and then I'll use the feeler gauge. So let me just run these down. Right there is about flush. And you take a feeler gauge. This one's 20 thousandths. And you're going to slip it in here. There's like a little air gap. That actually feels pretty good. And then what you'll do is by hand, you'll just snug this up until your feeler gauge is just barely moving. Actually, it was about right. This bolt you want to set usually about 55-60 foot-pounds. Good. We'll plug her in. Make sure your wire's in a safe place. And we can put on our belt. All right. Alright guys, got it wrapped up and you can see it's working, so it was worth a little bit of effort to get that PTO going. Anyhow, I'm Double Wide 6. I'll put some links down below, and as always, have a good one. We'll see you.